I'm John Ray with NewsNetNebraska, and today I have Stephanie Wagle with me. She's a English creative writing major, and she also poses naked for the art department. How are you doing today, Stephanie?
Doing quite well. Doing well. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
So, can you tell us how you got started? Like,
Sure.
what made you want to do this, and how did it all come about?
Well, my friend Laura Young, shout out to Laura Young, she's at Crete and she's a liberal arts major, and we got talking about nude modeling because I was like, do you ever have to draw anyone naked, just like as a conversation, you know? And she was like, oh yeah, and I was like, well, how do you get that job? Is it just art majors? And these questions just started coming out of my mouth. I didn't even, it was just a conversation, and she was like, yeah, they actually get paid quite well at Crete anyway. And then I went online and just like, I don't know, it was sort of like a bad joke. I was like, let me go to the art department website and just email like a professor. I never got anything back. And then I went to the next name below that and emailed them. And just said, hi, my name is Stephanie Wagle. I have theater background. I've been on stage in my life, and I'm interested in to see if there's any opportunities to pose nude for, if you do that at the art department, and if you do, is there an opportunity to fill an application and to do that? And surprisingly, I got an email back, and they said, come on in, fill an application. I went in, and I did. I've been to Richards Hall, maybe on a tour. I went in, and I found the room, and I sat down and filled out an application, and she's like, you have to be naked, right? And I was like, yeah, like I just sort of like, sure, yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I always like to challenge myself, and especially if I don't know the outcome, it just sort of excites me. So why not?
Can you explain your first time going in? Was it very nerve-wracking? Could you sleep the night before?
Actually, I didn't even think about it during the day. I mean, you have classes during the day, and I knew it was coming, but it was sort of like a dinner date. That's like as the weight it had in my head, like, it was sort of just like a date or something. Like, I was a little nervous for it, but I was just sort of like, well, it's going to come, so why would I waste time being nervous? And I have this test and this paper due, and that's just what I focused on. And it was really interesting because I went in, and it was intro drawing class. So it was the first time ever drawing a live model. And it was my first time posing as a live model. So that was really cool, because I was like, wow, it's your first time, my first time, we're both nervous, it'll be cool, And there was about 25 kids, like freshmen, and they had their, I don't know what you call them, easels up with the canvases, and they were taller than they were, and most of the time they stood behind, so it was basically like I was being stared at by all these easels, but then like people would peek out. Actually, what they did is they had like this, they called it a blind structure, where they actually just had to stare at me and draw, and they couldn't look at their canvas. So that was kind of like, I was like, well, I know they're like staring right at me, But when you're naked, like for example, I'm dressed right now, but you're in a suit right now, but you're looking at me, you're not looking at your body. So I knew what they were seeing, but at the same time, I was so interested in just like watching them work, and just being there while they were working, and just being there while that was being just while art was being created. It was just cool to be there. It was sort of like being a fly in the wall, even though I was the focal point. I didn't look at it that way. I was sort of like, I'm just like an observer.
How did your parents first react when you told them that you were going to pose nude?
My mom was actually in the art class and saw me. No, that'd be awful. My mom, I told her over the phone, but I could just see her eyebrows raising on the other end. She's in Omaha. She's still, like, it's a bad joke to her still. Like, she's just like, I told her that I was going to go and do one a couple weeks ago. I never know what to call them. I'm like, she sings, and you can call what she does a gig, but what do you call mine? I'm like, I'm going to an art session, I'm going to a session, I still don't know. I still don't have the lingo down. And so I tell her, and I awkwardly stumble over telling her, and then she's just like, oh, because oh, like that way is how she says it. And she just thinks it's sort of weird, I think, probably. She doesn't talk about it. She doesn't talk about it, which means she thinks it's weird. But she's not just condoning it, but she's just sort of like, it's a phase. She'll stop talking about it. She'll stop doing it eventually. She's wrong, but my dad, how do you tell your dad that you're posing nude in front of a class for a bunch of people? It was my first question, and then I did the best of my ability, and he just thinks it's great. He looks at college as like the last time to really play in the playground before you go into the real world, and I do too. And I think, when am I going to be able to do this? When I have a career, when I have bills to pay, and la 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 la, and so much else to focus on. Like, I can play around with this weird idea now because I'm in college, and I can still sort of play around with things and not know the outcome of things and still go for it, whether it has any prolonged real benefit to my life, which I do think this does. I've gained a lot, just confidence building, public speaking. No, I'm just kidding. But I know that it's helped me. It has not been a negative in my life.
When you came in, you were using a cane, so you're blind. Does that help at all? Like with the nerves or anything? Or?
It is nice that I'm not looking right into the face of the person that's looking right back at me, and I'm not wearing clothing, but I know they're still watching me. I think what makes the biggest difference is that standing there, like I was saying with like you right now, you're wearing a suit, but you're looking at me, you don't see the suit. When I'm standing there, I'm not looking at myself naked. They are, but I'm not. So in a way, that's a blindness too. I know that they're looking at, but I can't see it. So I'm just like, well, it puts me at ease because I'm not like, oh crap, do I have a zit or whatever, a million different things when you're sitting naked in front of a bunch of people that you could fixate on, and obsess over. But I just choose not to obsess, because if I do, I really will, and I really worry about it. So I just don't. I just choose not to at all. I don't even think that either instructor knows that I'm blind, because I just recently started using the cane. That's another kind of fun thing. Like, they don't know, but I know. Mm-hmm. So it's like I don't really see because the professor draws right along with everybody else. Oh, no. This last time she did. The time before, the instructor didn't. But this time, she was working with everybody else. So, she's looking at me. And they're a little nervous, too, you can tell, because they deal with fruit and a lot of other things that they draw in landscapes. And today, they're dealing with a stranger that they're going to be paying to stand up naked in front of the class. And it's just an uncomfortable situation at first, because you're talking about it, and then you just met me. And in 3 minutes, I'm going to be naked in front of you. And we just had a conversation where I didn't talk to anybody else, any of her students, but she knows me on a one-on-one basis. So it's kind of, you don't just meet somebody very often and then, not normally, in 3 minutes their clothes are off, so it's just that comfort level. But for me, it's like, I don't have to see you. I'm up here, and I don't have a lot of central vision. So I'm just like, it might be uncomfortable for you because we just had a conversation, but I can't see you at all.
Have you ever seen anybody who's drawn you on campus? Where oh, I saw you naked once.
I keep waiting for it. And actually, I had this this math class with this art guy he dropped the class. I was thankful for that because he was sort of like a creeper. And this was before everything. This is before I posed nude or whatever. We just studied together, but he was just one of those individuals you meet on campus. So you're like, I just really hope I don't have to talk to you again, because he just got sort of creepy and really good drawer. I'll give him that. He was always doodling in class and stuff like that, and his stuff was really good, but he was just I don't know. We studied together, and then he was just gave me the creep vibe, and I don't know. I was just hoping that I don't really care if I saw him again. That's, if I see him, I see him. But once I did the nude modeling, I was like, oh, I really hope I don't I don't want to look out and just notice him. Oh, I would really hate that. That would not be fun.
What is there any preparations or stress the night before where you're like, oh man, I got to shave my legs?
That's exactly it. The shaving, because it's winter. Yeah, that's definitely. I always put in my head I've only done it twice, but both times I was like, okay, next week, okay, I need to make sure you're showered, make sure I'm shaved, make sure I shave my legs, because it's winter, and I'm again, not ashamed. Girls don't shave all the time in the wintertime. It is cold. Why? No one sees our legs in the summer or in the winter. So, yeah, make sure that everything is, taken care of, and, that I wash I don't wear my hair down every day, because it's just a lion's mane, and I hate, it's just a hassle. So I always just have it up in a bun. So for that day, I'm okay, Stephanie, take it down, mousse it, a little preparation, definitely. Yeah.
Have you heard or encountered any embarrassing stories about models up the top? Or?
No, but if you have any, I would love to hear them, because I always imagine worst case scenario. What if someone, so many awful. What if an artist? Okay, I don't know if I can say this, but
Go for it.
What if like an artist would fart during it, or what if the model farted, or what if I fell asleep? That's what I always wonder, because I really get comfortable, especially they have a mattress they put on the floor, and you like have a pillow, and you're just like laying down, and I'm like, I actually put my head down, I closed my eyes for a little while, only for like 10-second increments, because what if someone's drying my eyes right now? You know, I'm trying to like help them out and be respectful for them, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm so tired, you know, because I wasn't when I walked in here, but now you have me laying down, I want to take a nap. So I always wonder if I would fall asleep and someone has to like wake the nude model up. That would be really awkward.
Thanks for joining us again, and I'm John Ray from NewsNet Nebraska.